Hey there, everybody. It's Ashley here from Lovely Commotion. Happy Sunday to you. I am dropping in to talk about curriculum. So, I know that when you're looking for a play based pre K curriculum, it can be a little overwhelming. There are so many choices out there. And so, I wanted to walk you through the one that I use for my classroom and the one I created for my classroom. I think that it's important to know the qualifications and how this curriculum is going to work if it's not developed by someone who is in the field regularly. And so that's why I find it so important to share with everyone, because I've already created these for my classroom. And so that I want to share them with you so that you can use them and see what works for you. But I also get a lot of questions of like, what is in that huge bundle of things and how do you fit all of that in? And so that's what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to do a run through of all the components of the curriculum, and then I'm going to give you a look into the pacing guide, which you can grab the pacing guide free if you want to look at it for yourself and use any of those links there. I will put the link to the pacing guide in the description, and I will also put a link to the curriculum in the description. But let's start with who this curriculum was created for. So I have two different sets of lesson plans, and one was from when I was doing 3/4s, and that's more of my 2-3 lesson plan. And then this one that we're going to talk about today is the pre-K lesson plans, so 4/5s, and that's what I have been doing the last couple of years, is teaching 4/5s, and I absolutely love it. And of course, there's some overlap, right, in both areas, especially when it comes to centers, and there's other things that can be overlap, but I want to give you kind of this overview and tell you how it works for me so that you can have that knowledge in case you are looking for curriculum or you're looking for some addition to your curriculum. Because even though this is one huge curriculum, you definitely can pull pieces maybe that you might find helpful to you, right? So let's go through component by component, and then I will show you the pacing guide and how it all ties together. So I'm going to scoot over here because I've got lots of slides for you. So first, we're going to look at the lesson plans. So these lesson plans are thematic by nature, and here's some examples of them. And so they are for 2 weeks at a time, and they come with ideas for centers at the bottom here, if you can kind of see that. They come with songs that you can sing during whole group time or circle time. They come with whole group activities, small group activities, and any of the printables, any of that you might need when you are using the lesson. So it's a very comprehensive. The only thing that you will need to grab is some books related to the theme, and every once in a while there might be a very specific book for you to use based on whatever that activity is, but generally it's a book you most likely already have or can very easily get your hands on. So in the curriculum there are 25 play-based lesson plans. So each one is 2 weeks. So that's giving you a lot of great variety. If you don't want to do your themes for 2 weeks, then you get the luxury of picking and choosing the things that you want to do. I've always worked part-time, either 3 days or 2 days in my classroom. And so I had to pick, which was kind of nice, but it was also kind of hard because you're missing so many great things. And so there are all those there for you, both whole group and small group. And then there's a place on the lesson plans. There's an overview, and you can see that in the picture here. There's a place for you to write the read aloud that you're going to do. And the bottom there has some center ideas as well. So all that is included in the lesson plans, and I will go over which themes and things like that once we get to the pacing guide. But the main great content right here in the curriculum is the 25 play-based lesson plans. Another component is the pretend play props. So there's 22 of these, and these were made for the drama center, and they complement the play-based lessons. So you can see in the picture there's some space up there. So that is the rocket ship dramatic play, and so it has all the printables, ideas, material lists for how to set up your own space center, right, in your dramatic play. you may be able to see, I know it's kind of hard to see, but this one with the little girl with the hat, that is the dino dig. And so they were digging for different dinosaur fossils in the sand. And it's got pictures of different types of, um, dinosaurs. And then these I always like to include a writing component if possible. So maybe it is the space checklist, like before we go off to space, we check these things off. For the pumpkin patch, it is an order form for how many pumpkins do you want, or do you want sunflowers or apples, things like that. And so I always try to sneak a little writing component in there as well, because, why not? And so all that's in there for you, all the printables to kind of make it come to life, and all your instructions and ideas. And this doesn't have to be really, really grand, right? It doesn't have to be this amazing thing. Just adding in some tools for them and adding in some visuals for them allows them to kind of take themselves to another place in the drama center. And I love that it ties in with what we're already talking about. So there's 22 different pretend play props, packages, in this curriculum. So that's another component. Another component that I created because I was striving to go a little bit deeper with read alouds and with literacy in my classroom. So these are the literacy units, and there's 9 of them. Each unit is based around a theme, and each unit has 4 lessons based on 4 popular books. So in this picture, there's Love Monster. There's also We Are in a Book, Elephant Piggy, and let's see, Over and Under the Snow. So a lot of them relate to some of the themes we're doing, but they don't match up perfectly. I have found that I love bringing this literacy component in. And so what I do is I take the literacy component and mash it up with some of the activities from the lesson plan. So I kind of do a mesh because I don't have as much time as a full-time, full-day teacher. I'm only there 4.5 hours for a couple days a week. And so I have to kind of pare all that down. But I've loved going so much deeper into literacy because we're able to focus on this one book, this one author, and we can talk about so many amazing things. And I like to refer to it as kind of wondering aloud. And so many times while I'm reading, I'm wondering aloud about, I wonder how this illustrator made the pictures. Let's look closer at it. Or, oh my goodness, I wonder why this book was written. It seems to teach us a lot. So I'm starting to wonder aloud a lot. And all of these prompts are on there for you. There's things for story elements. There's some vocabulary that I love to touch on as we're going through the book to make sure that they're understanding some of those words maybe they've never heard before. There is author's craft, illustrator's craft, purpose for the writing. Let's see. Then there's also extension activities that you can do off of that as well. And everything that you need for the extension activities or any other activity in there is included. And so I've loved these because it just gives us a deeper dive, and it reminds me right off the bat of some things that we can start talking about within the book and within the text itself. So we're really talking about books a ton when we're doing this. And we're rereading that same focus book, which has, of course, helped us learn new things, because each time I reread it, I can go back and touch on something new about the book or the author or the structure of it that I had not done before. So I've been loving these, and so I want to include them in the curriculum in case you want to, pick and pull from that too, or maybe you have a longer day and you really can fit both, the play-based lesson plans with whole group and these literacy units in it as well. So I'm loving that right now. Another thing that is included that I've gotten really good feedback on teachers, even in my own building, really enjoy these circle time games. And so if you're looking for some way to bring in some skill-based learning and not take a lot of time, but yet still be engaging, and you're not doing flashcards or things like that, these circle time games are it. And so you're basically getting 4 sets. There's a spring one, but that includes spring and Easter. And then there's a fall one, and that includes Oh yes, school and fall. Sorry. There's a summer one. That's just a single summer one. And then there's a spring one right here. Oh, what did I not do? Winter. There's a holiday and a winter one. So basically, it's like the same set of skills are being covered in both spring and Easter, but with a different theme and maybe a different game. And so all these were created to be used on a whole group setting. So I use pocket charts a lot, or just even the carpet area. And I try to hand out pieces as often as possible to make it more engaging. But I'm loving it because it doesn't take long at all. It's a very short game. So even if you don't do it during circle time and you're wanting just something for maybe when you are, waiting for your turn on the playground or waiting for your turn in the bathroom, or maybe your schedule has like this like 5-minute window of nothing, you've got nothing planned. These are great for that because they are quick, they are engaging, and they ask to play them over and over again. And I love it that they are working on skills. And we're kind of spiraling those skills because, once a different season hits, we're touching those skills again. So those are working really, really well for us. Another component inside the curriculum are the new science centers. And I am loving these science centers. I knew I wanted to change my old science centers, but when one of my colleagues came in and was like, your poor science center is sad. And I was like, okay, it's time. It's time for me to kind of up this area. And now it is more of a tray base. So there's different tray activities and there's a sensory component. And so all of the science centers included, there are 23 of them that go with the themes. They have different activities that they can pull on a tray. And so it kind of gives them a task. There is a visual, as you can see in each one of these, I tape a visual instruction to the tray so they can kind of get an idea. Sometimes I will sit down and play it with them at first, or I will model it, if I need to. But most of the time they pick up on it pretty fast, especially if they've seen a friend do it. And these have been great. I prepped all of them and now they're just in tubs. And now all we have to do is pull them off the shelf and use them. And so that's been fantastic as well. But I will say the tray really helps give the activity boundary, because before the problem I was having is that they were just missing a whole bunch of materials and not really understanding what to do with them. Some of them were more self-explanatory, like magnets, but some of them weren't. Like we had rocks, and I had, a scale and maybe a place to sort the rocks, and maybe, a magnifying glass, and they weren't always sure how all that went together, what they were even supposed to do with it. And so these trays have helped because it's all of the materials right there in front of them. And so you basically are getting all the activities. There's 4 tray activities per science center unit, plus an idea for sensory, because we were combining last year some sensory with our science because it naturally lent itself really nicely to that. So 23 of those. Of course, you could pick and choose what you want to use if you didn't want to do science that often. Another component inside the curriculum is the STEM challenges. Now, these are different from the they're different from the science centers because the science centers were created to be done independently and as a choice. These are more whole group, so it's something we're focusing on. There's 12 of them. There's one for each month, and inside each month there are 4 different challenges. So these might range from being a science experiment to being an engineering experiment, or maybe even just a provocation of sorts. But they're very easy to implement. We'd been doing them on Fridays just for fun. And, learning, of course, but, fun Friday. So we bring in some STEM. These include your instructions, materials that you need, some books that maybe you might be helping you with this, our guiding question of why we're doing this activity. There is vocabulary for each one. So you can, if you choose, you can talk about some of the vocabulary words that are coming up when doing this STEM challenge. And then it also includes prompts. So for example, it gives kind of like a story or a guiding question through a character. And that kind of gets them on the road to thinking, I wonder how that would work. So it's really trying to get them excited and get them engaged instead of just saying, okay, let's see, let's just do this and see what happens. It's more kind of setting them up. I've gotten feedback that the prompts are very helpful because it helps engage them before they even really know what this science experiment is about. So all that's included in there as well. So there are plenty of those to choose from. And to be clear, we do not get through all of these, some Fridays just don't work out that way. And we, just kind of prioritize which ones we want to try to get in. And which ones that we have materials on hand for, which we need to go, buy something for, all those kind of factor into it. And, but we have lots of great choices from that. Another component is the mini units for the nursery rhymes. So when we are not doing circle time games, because many times I will run out of those, there are a lot of them, but they will not get you through the whole entire year. At least I found that they didn't get me through the whole entire year. So I like to, every once in a while, sneak in some nursery rhymes. So let's say we've done all of our fall circle time games. Then I will bring in some nursery rhyme mini units. There are 10 nursery rhyme mini units, and they're right there going right off of very famous nursery rhymes. That's what they are. And so they're designed where you could use them multiple days if you wanted to, or you could just use them a couple days. You can kind of pick and choose what you want to do. But there are pocket chart strips, as you can see in the picture there, where you can do some one-to-one correspondence with the words as you're saying the riddle. There is some pieces you can use to retell. So I like to put felt on the back of them or Velcro and use them on the flannel board. You can put magnets on the back of them, use them on a cookie sheet. Great way to retell the story or act it out as you're saying it. It also has a sequencing component where they are helping you sequence it in order. And then there's also a little booklet that they can take home and they can have their parents read it to them as well if they choose. So this is great to kind of offset some of the circle time games. And I love bringing nursery rhymes in. The benefits are huge. And so this is just one way that I can bring them in and make sure it's on my schedule and that it is getting finished. It is getting done and we are doing it. So those are fun too. I've got 3 more components for you. This one is the social emotional lessons. And I honestly think that if there is one thing that I offer to teachers, this is the one that I think that I'm most proud of because I've seen what a difference it makes in the classroom. Using it from the very beginning, building that class community, to helping children just be kinder human beings, which we all could use, in our world right now. This has helped a ton. And so basically what these social emotional lessons were designed to do was not to take away from us teaching in the moment, teaching them in the moment. If we're having this problem, we can work through it, and I teach them through that. Absolutely. It was not to take away from that at all. It was, though, created to create a touch point back, right? So we had this common experience. We read this book. We had this common discussion. We did this common activity. And so now when we see maybe some empathy in the classroom, we can name that and we can refer it back to either the book or the activity we did, because that's a common thing we all did. And so now there's a little bit more of a vested interest, right? Oh yeah, I do remember when we did that. Oh, do you remember when we read that book about the boy who, and then we can go on from there. I have found it to be super helpful in that sense. And it's also been a little bit eye-opening. I had a little friend this past year who did not realize, she's an only child, she did not realize that you could have more than one friend. And so when I started figuring out what was going on and why we were kind of having some issues, it was just like, oh my goodness, I don't think she realizes that she can have more than one. And so there's a lesson in there about, I can't recall off the top of my head what it's called, something more, the more the merrier type of friends, right? More friends, the better. And we did that lesson, and I literally, like, when you think you see the light bulb go off above their head, that's like exactly what happened. And ever since then, she was just like, well, okay, I can have more friends. And it was simple as that. And, that was just one example of the many times that I've just been completely blown away by how these help our kiddos and how much they really maybe didn't know that I didn't know they knew. And so these, trying to get back to it, 8 social emotional lessons. Each one has 8 social emotional units. Each unit has 4 lessons. And so we do them once a week. Sometimes if the attention spans are a little short, I will read the book one day and then do the activity another day. I usually do this at the end of the day. It's like our second whole group time that I do this in. And basically what is in that lesson for you is some ideas for books you can read, but of course you can always add your own. There are some discussion questions, so you kind of don't even have to think on the fly. You can just look on there and start having those discussions. And if you don't think your kids are ready for discussions, I think you'll be surprised how much they have to say and how much they know and how much they share with you. That has probably been my very favorite part of it, is just being able to have those discussions with them. And then there's an extension activity where we can take what we've learned and go from there. So all the printables for all that is all included right there. And then all your verbiage and all that's right there. So we just organize ours in like, what are those? Oh, sheet protectors. We put all the stuff we need in the sheet protector. And I have the book either in the sheet protector or right behind it. And we just have them in order. And I go through each week and just pull them out. And those are the ones we're doing. And I just have loved seeing the growth in social emotional that they're doing by just having this small time to talk about these things. I think it's really made our community closer in our classroom as well. So this is something, if you don't have in your classroom, is some sort of social emotional component. I encourage you to check these out. Again, I'm like super proud of them because they are working really well and they're helping our children, just be kinder, gentler human beings. So here's the second to last one. Also included is the pre-K circle time pack. So it includes months, days, all kinds of the things. It includes all of the patterning, calendar cards. It includes songs, the weather graph, all that stuff. So if you're thinking, oh, she still does calendar, I thought we were done with that. I will include a link, which actually, let me make myself a note real fast. I will include a link into why I still use calendar. And I feel like it can be justified. And I've talked to many other educators about this same exact topic. And so if that's a concern to you, or if you're just curious, I will put that link in there. But this curriculum bundle also includes that as well. And then the last thing it includes is something that I find super helpful, especially at the beginning of the year, are procedure cards. So these are strips, or they're cards, but you can put them in a strip if you'd like to. You can make them go left to right. You can shrink them down. They are to help our little friends learn the procedures and the routines in our room so that we can get to the learning fun faster. And so things like lining up. I mean, this is the first time some of these littles have done this. Even coming into the classroom, what does that look like? What does moving throughout the classroom look like? What does playing in blocks and playing with toys supposed to look like? How is being safe with books supposed to look like? All these different things that we teach them have got a visual now so that they can go back and help themselves. The packing up one, like to pack their bag, that's hanging on the back of my door, and it has been a lifesaver because I don't have to say it 5 million times. We go over it, and then I find them going over there and going, okay, oh, now I see, I need to go do this. Like, one, they're being independent, which is amazing, and 2, I'm not having to say it over and over again and maybe get frustrated in the process. So these have been, an absolute must at the beginning of the year, for Sure. So those are included in there as well. But I wanted to take a moment. Let me see here. Oh, let me move this guy out of the way. And let's look at the pre-kindergarten pacing guide. And I just wanted to show you how this is laid out. So if you are looking for a full-blown curriculum, how it all kind of relates to one another. So let me, oh, sorry, my thing scrolls really fast. So these are all links. So if you go and download this guide, and I'll get that link to you up in the description. If you download this guide, you're going to find that you can click on all of these links. So you can go see just science centers or just social emotional units. So if there was something that you found intriguing, you can go and check those out based on the links. And then the next page is a year-long guide. And so here's basically all of the themes that are included. I'm hoping you can see this big enough, but in August, there's 2 different themes. Welcome to Preschool, All About Me. Each one has 2 different themes in there. The only one that is an exception to that rule is gingerbread. I only planned for 3 weeks in December, seeing as most of us are off for at least a week. And so there's a gingerbread week 1 and a gingerbread week 2 kind of split up a little bit differently. But let's go down. So here's August. And so basically on the left, you've got week 1 and week 2. And in the middle of it shows you the theme. And it gives you a link to that specific play-based lesson plan. Then week 3, 4, here is the theme. And then up here in circle time, what we're working on is just introducing the circle time components. And so I, slowly go through, weather, and we slowly go through what it might look like to add some days to the calendar, different things like that. And then dramatic play. These first 2 boxes are just kitchen and home center. I like to keep it really simple at the beginning of the year. There's already so much going on and it's so new to them that keeping it just kind of familiar, because most kids have played in a, either at home, have their own kitchen, or have baby dolls. And so that's a little bit easier for them. And I like to keep it simple just for myself as well. But then in week 3, 4, there's a baby center. And so in the dramatic play area, I set up a whole baby center. There's different, writing components that they can do, and different tools, diapers and bottles and all the different things that they can do, and they care for their babies in there. And then literacy unit is the Welcome to Preschool literacy unit. This has 4 different focus books in them. And to get, if you want to know what exactly is in there, you can just click this link and it will take you to that. Also, let's see, we've got science. Oh, excuse me, I moved too fast. Social emotional. Here's where the procedure cards come in. So those first 2 weeks, I am just teaching procedures and just building relationships. And then down in week 3 and 4, I am starting the I Am Me social emotional learning unit and doing lesson 1 one week and lesson 2 another week. And then in the Science Center, I'm doing colors for the first 2 weeks, my body for the second 2 weeks, and then the STEM unit in August is the August one. And so then if I scroll down, you'll see that for September, here is the I Am Me again, and I'm doing lessons 3 and 4. So when you grab this guide, you'll be able to go through it. You'll be able to click through and see some of these lessons up close, so that you can see, okay, but what lessons are inside of them, right? What are we really doing inside of them? So you can click all those, see the link popping up to get a closer look if you want. And so then it just goes down through October, November, December. As I mentioned, December has only 3 weeks planned. And you'll see down here that there is a holiday theme or a nativity theme based on whether you're in a faith-based setting or not. And just a side note, our holiday does not include anything Santa related or anything Jesus related. So it's mainly just trees, reindeer, lights, all those typical things we think of in holiday, but not specific around Santa, because I know a lot of schools cannot do that or anything religious. And so it stays pretty straight and narrow. Then we've got January going through, February, March, April, May, June, July, and then after we're done with all the months, there are themes and skills. So if you're wondering, like, what exactly are we even focusing on? Like, I need to write on my lesson plan what I'm even focusing on through this skill. And so that's where these come in. The Welcome to Preschool theme, here are all of the literacy up in the top, and then at the bottom there's math. And so you can quickly see at a glance what children will be learning based on the activities in the lessons. And so those go through and these are this list is mainly for the pre-K lesson plans. This does not include all the wonderful things coming out of the literacy, the literacy units themselves. That's a whole nother set of a ton of skills that could be listed as well. It would take up a ton more room, but this gives you a great overview on some things that each theme does. And so then it shows you all the bundles that are available to you. So even if you are not wanting to do this whole incredibly big curriculum bundle, but you're interested in the social emotional bundle, here is that down here for you. There are some beginning of the year resources in here for you as well. If you need some center labels, if you need some procedure cards, if you need a guide to centers, all of this stuff on this page is helpful for the beginning of the year. So maybe it's rules and expectation posters, maybe it's classroom jobs, maybe it's assessments, whatever it might be. Here is where you can grab some links for that. And then here's just some of my, here's some posts about circle time. So this is just off the blog. They're all linked up here. Why we still use a calendar at circle time. Here's that one right there. Assessment information, center information. Then it goes down to building relationships, so social emotional, meet the teacher forums when we're talking to parents at the beginning of the year, classroom management information in there, and then some lesson planning resources as well. So that, and then here's an invitation to join us in the community. So that is the pacing guide, and I'm hoping that that was helpful to you to just kind of get a real good look inside and see if what I'm using in my classroom could be helpful to you as well. So I know it was kind of like that was a lot of things, which I totally get. But I'm hoping if you really are digging deep and trying to figure out what's in a curriculum and whether it's going to be best for your classroom, that this helped you. So drop me a comment. Let me know. Are you always looking for additions to a current curriculum? What is it that you're needing? And was this helpful? So I will talk to you all next Sunday. I know that was a long one, so I will let you be. Have a great rest of your Sunday, and I will see you next week. Bye.